How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today I want to talk to you about a couple different altcoins, give you some news on them from Polygon to Terra to other cryptocurrencies as well. I also want to talk about how rare and how limited the supply is of Bitcoin, and this is going to apply to other cryptocurrencies as well, but we're talking about Bitcoin because it leads the market. If Bitcoin's doing well, the rest of the market will typically do well as well. So we're going to take a look at how rare Bitcoin really is. Now I'll have timestamps underneath the video that pretty much cut the video in half for the up-to-date news on what's happening in the crypto market today to more evergreen stuff that's just about Bitcoin in general and will be true even a week or a month from now. And after recording this, I actually found out that I really wanted to show how much you actually need in Bitcoin to retire in the year 2030. So I'm going to include that. So there are actually going to be three parts. One, the top news of the day. Two, how rare Bitcoin truly is. Then also, we're going to take a look at how much you actually need to retire. And I'm going to show you how much you would have to invest today. And it's probably less than you would expect. So if you guys want to skip around, you can, but I would suggest staying through to the end. If you don't mind, hitting the like button and subscribe button. Also, there is a link down there to BlockFi. So you can get an interest rate on your cryptocurrency if you're outside the US. If you're inside the US, you can still get up to $250 bonus when you start depositing at BlockFi. Now, the cryptocurrency market is down a decent amount since yesterday. We're down about 4%. Now, we've actually come back up a little bit throughout the day. Right now, the stock market was actually down pretty significantly earlier today too, and we've started to climb back up. So everything's looking a little bit better than it was this morning. Now, one crypto that has done extremely well recently is Terra. So Terra's up 74% on the 30-day, up and passing $100 for the last couple of days. It's up 15% on the last 7 days. And this is just because the TVL, the total value locked on Terra, is just blowing up. And if you know how Terra works, you realize that if someone is trying to use UST tokens, which is their stablecoin, they burn Terra and convert it over to UST. And a lot of people are over on Anchor getting that really nice rate of 19.5%. So $15.6 billion total value locked. And it's just making Terra blow up, especially with the backing for UST in Bitcoin, which a lot of people don't really think about backing their stablecoin with something besides the US dollar, which is just being inflated away. But backing it with a hard asset like Bitcoin is going to make it even stronger as time goes on. And they're going to continue to buy more and more. Now, moving on to Polygon. Polygon includes a $23 billion sports betting company, DraftKings, as a network validator. So now I believe they're more like 12 billion or 14 billion, but still $10 billion DraftKings, a digital sports entertainment and gaming company, today joins the Polygon ecosystem as a validator and node operator, marking this the first time that a major publicly traded company has taken an active role in blockchain governance. Polygon validators are responsible for verifying authenticity and validation of transactions on the network and earn rewards in return in the blockchain's proof of stake mechanism. So this is really cool. It's a huge company taking an active part in the validating process and becoming a node operator for Polygon. So pretty cool there. And one other company that also uses Polygon, Unstoppable Domains, they're a partner of the channel as well. You can check out the link underneath the video. There you can get a readable wallet address. And there are a handful of different use cases for this. I'm going to talk about this more soon, but you can actually speculate and make money on secondary markets with these. So this, if you have heard of the URL craze, or when people were buying up domain names, could be something similar where a lot of people are buying like latte.wallet and they sell them for thousands of dollars. So check out that link underneath the video as well. Now, let's take a look at the general market, right? So far, this is what can't keep the market down. Fed, a lot of people are expecting 7 rate hikes. We're seeing quantitative tightening, so they're going to stop their bond purchases. We're already seeing that slow down, and then we're actually going to see increased rate hikes soon. Russian invasion of Ukraine, nuclear power plant fires, commodities prices ripping, wheat's going up 70% a week, stocks printing huge red days where we've seen all the markets come down at least 10%. All the major indexes come down 10 to 20% really here in the US. Russian index is falling 50% in a day. The case for Bitcoin has never been stronger. What they didn't include in here were a lot of the good things, right? We've seen so many great things happen throughout the year, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But this is what we're fighting through right now. And Bitcoin's held up really, really well. Now, we know that the US is going to start regulating crypto. That was kind of a pump the other day. But we also got word just a few hours later that Dubai introduced a law to boost Bitcoin and crypto adoption and become a global leader. Sounds like a couple different countries really want to embrace crypto. And then last thing here is we saw OKCoin launch a $165 million collective investment to push Bitcoin adoption. So this just came out today, I believe, and this is coming from OKCoin along with the Stacks Accelerator and Stacks Foundation, a $165 million incentive. So what does this actually mean? Well, the money and assets will be used to finance initiatives that are being built on Stacks, an open source network for Bitcoin's based smart contracts and Bitcoin blockchain itself. So if you think that Bitcoin can't have smart contracts, it definitely can. The Bitcoin Odyssey will select projects focused on Bitcoin and Stacks, as well as other solutions across Web3, such as the metaverse, blockchain-based play to earn gaming, DeFi, NFTs, decentralized autonomous organizations, along with city coins, government, technology, or other fields. So basically, all the hot fields right now they're going to fund. In addition to funding, they're also going to take up hands-on assistance and help these projects out. So this could be big, right? $165 million basically just as a donation to everyone because they're going to continue to accelerate Bitcoin adoption. Now, that's all great. We saw some other news today that wasn't so great, which is the CPI data. Here in the US, we have 7.9% inflation. And this is just over the last year. We still expect it to raise next month and even possibly the months after because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So we are expecting possibly double-digit inflation depending on the price of oil here soon. Now, this has caused a lot of people to think, okay, where can we put our money that won't be inflated away, right? Right here in the US, we're seeing these crazy numbers, but other countries are seeing even higher inflation rates. So I thought this would be a good time to take a look at how rare Bitcoin truly is. Now, of course, all different cryptos have different inflation rates, and some have set supplies, some don't. So this isn't true of everyone. But like I said earlier, Bitcoin leads the market. So if Bitcoin's doing well, the general market should do well. Everyone else is going to flip back and forth from, Terra going up to number 4 in all of crypto and other cryptos falling down, but Bitcoin leads the way. So if you have a good basket of other cryptocurrencies, they should do fairly well as well. But let's take a look at how rare Bitcoin truly is. So first of all, this is the supply. Right now, we're almost at 19 million. We see more and more come every day. Every 4 years or so, there's a Bitcoin halving cycle, so it becomes less and less inflationary over time. So right now, we have nearly 19 million. Some of that is lost. We've seen this lost in dumps. We've seen it where people forget their passwords, they send it to the wrong address, and people lose Bitcoin all the time. There's supposedly $4 to $5 million worth of Bitcoin that's lost. We also have Satoshi that has a significant amount of Bitcoin as well and isn't touching it. So there's a lot of Bitcoin that really just has to be taken out of circulation almost, right? So if we have 19 million, maybe it's more like 14 million or so that is actually available. So from there, we have the amount that's actually on exchanges. So of course, this can change if someone goes and dumps a bunch of Bitcoin on an exchange. This can push up, but right now, all the different exchanges have a total of about 2.36 million. So even if someone dumps a significant amount, it's not like we see, a really large amount being dumped. Like this is about the biggest drain off supplies that we've seen, and that's right there. So about 100,000 Bitcoin. It's not like anyone's going to dump $1 million on an exchange. Now, of course, it could always trend the other way. People could offload, but right now we're at about 2.36 million Bitcoin. So a lot of people are continuously buying, right? So back here, we saw a significant amount as the price was going up. People just keep on dollar cost averaging. So the long-term holder supply is around 13 to 14 million. Now, how many millionaires are there actually in the world? So we have 2.36 million on exchanges. The total number of millionaires is about 56.1 million. And I think this is probably increasing almost daily. And of course, the market turns down, so there are less millionaires then. But overall, we're probably facing 60 million, 70 million millionaires very soon. So let's say 56 million millionaires. There's 2.36 million Bitcoin. So take that 2.36. Of course, some of them already have Bitcoin, but 2.36 million divided by 56 million. every millionaire can only have 0.04 Bitcoin from the supply that's on exchanges. Now, of course, some people, as time goes on, as the price gets higher and higher, they're not even going to be able to buy that. When we look at some of the biggest wallet addresses too, they're adding. So these top two wallets, Bitfinex and Binance, we're not going to include that, but the third largest wallet has about 126,000 Bitcoin. You can see in the blue line here, they just keeps on accumulating, or SHIB just keeps on accumulating. Now, of course, there are dips, but the line's up and to the right. We have other people, other wallets that do all different kinds of things. Sometimes they sell, sometimes they buy, but the majority of people hold for the long term. A lot of these big wallets bought a while back, or they're accumulating pretty quickly now. Now, we also have institutional adoption. So a lot of large companies have just started to buy, or they haven't even started to buy. Institutional Bitcoin adoption incoming, these are the 13F SEC filings. So you can see them increasing a lot. Big companies starting to get interested in Bitcoin. We have KPMG, which is now buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, and MicroStrategy that also has bought several $1 billion. Now, the interesting thing about these two companies, it's not just that they're buying, but they're going to help others buy too. We know that MicroStrategy holds a seminar every year on how companies can buy Bitcoin and add it to their balance sheet. We also know KPMG did this partly because they want to help other clients do the same thing and navigate those waters. So they are going to help other companies buy. And the significant thing about that is they're buying not $1 million of Bitcoin, they're buying tens of millions, hundreds of millions, some of these companies. So as time goes on, especially if we have accounting rule changes, there are going to be significant buys from some of the largest tech companies in the world. And we already have nation states that are using Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right? Between Russia and Ukraine, there's been a huge use case now given, and a lot of people, a lot of countries will start looking at Bitcoin, I believe, to have part of their reserves. I mean, the liquidity that they have is so much better if there's some kind of emergency, right? Russia and Ukraine have both used cryptocurrencies in different ways. We also have people in Canada getting their bank accounts frozen. So there's so much more apparent use case for Bitcoin than ever before. And we do have retail accumulating too. This is the Bitcoin, the number of addresses holding 0.1 Bitcoins, and there are just more and more addresses. We also have people that have less than a Bitcoin continuously adding more and more. We also have the potential for a spot ETF. So this might not come in the next couple months, but eventually it will come, in my opinion, especially with the US saying that they're looking to regulate crypto now. And I think this is a big part of crypto adoption. A spot ETF will make it so that people can easily buy and put it in their retirement accounts and just accumulate. So part of every paycheck, let's say $5 or $10, will go and buy Bitcoin, right? That could be huge over the long term. A lot of people will just buy this for the next 40 years, put in their retirement accounts and not look at it. So this could be huge, especially once certain portfolios allocate towards Bitcoin. So I think that will be another huge driver. We also have a lot of banks that are going to start offering it to their clients. So we have companies, we have nations, we have retail, we have retirement accounts all buying Bitcoin over the coming years. And we only have 2.36 million Bitcoin left. So this will continuously go down over long term. Of course, we could see people selling because eventually it's never going to hit zero, right? There's always got to be some Bitcoin that's going to be traded. And as this goes lower and lower, the price will go higher and higher. And then some people will decide now is a good time to cash out. So we'll always have a back and forth between when people just think that the price is too high. But over time, if people allocate, if nations allocate, it will continue to get more and more rare, and there's not much to go around, especially when you consider we're nearly 8 billion people in the world right now and only about 2 million Bitcoin. It's crazy when you think about it that way. So we are going to take a look at how much Bitcoin you actually need to retire now. So first of all, I think it's important to remember that no matter the situation, I mean, unless you just think that whatever you're investing in is going to double every single year, it's not going to be easy to retire. Like, you can't just put in $10,000 and then retire 5 years later. You have to realize that there are going to be significant amounts of money that you have to actually invest. Now, I think it is less than you would expect, though, overall. Let's say you need $1.5 million. If we use the 4% rule, which basically says you can take 4% of your portfolio, that means that you could take out about $60,000 a year. And I'm going to show you that in this example. So we have the years over here. I wanted to see how long we could last with this scenario. So first of all, we have 2022 Bitcoin price $40,000. So let's say you did this and you want to invest from zero. You have 0 Bitcoin right now. You invest $35,000. And I realize that's a lot, but again, it's the best at the beginning to invest heavily. So the reason for that is because Bitcoin's price is the lowest. We're going to say that it increases every single year 40%. So by 2030, we're about $600,000. That I think is pretty on par with what a lot of people expect. And that is about the market cap of gold. So if we have that happen and we invest $35,000 first year, then we actually decrease it by 5% every year from there on out, just because you realize that there's diminishing returns. Let's say you invest $33,000 the next year, 32, 30, we would get about 0.88 Bitcoin the first year, and then move down the line till we get about 2.64 Bitcoin in the 9th year here. So 2030, we have 2.64 Bitcoin. So from there, the price keeps on increasing for Bitcoin, but we're going to say that it slows down to just 5% because it's really easy to make this example work out if we have 10, 20%. So it goes up to gold's market cap, and then it goes to about 5%. We're going to assume that inflation or the cost of living adjustments are going to be about 3%. So we start withdrawing from our Bitcoin stack. In 2030, we withdraw $60,000. So at that time, that means that we have to sell about 0.1 Bitcoin because each Bitcoin is about $620,000. So that gives us about 2.54 Bitcoin left. The total value is actually a little bit higher than the year we retired because we still have a significant amount of Bitcoin that appreciated 5%. So we have about $1.57 million worth of Bitcoin left. Now, year 2, we have this cost of living adjustment to about $62,000. We sell a little less Bitcoin. We have about 2.45 Bitcoin left, and the value continues to go up. Now, there is an inflection point. That is important to point out here that the value keeps on increasing, but eventually there is enough that we've sold that the price appreciation of 5% isn't enough to increase our total value. So it's right around here, right? So we went up and then we start falling back down because, again, we have less Bitcoin. So even though the price keeps on increasing, we have less Bitcoin that is appreciating. So using this example where we start with 2.64 Bitcoin, we last about 38 years before we go negative. So 38 years is a significant amount of time. Now, of course, if you have other investments or Bitcoin's price goes up even higher, that's even better. We're accounting for 3% inflation. So there are a lot of variables in here, but assuming we start with 2.64 Bitcoin, and we could have changed it a little bit, but 2.64 will get us 38 years. So if you want to retire today, you need about $104,000 worth of Bitcoin. That would get you 2.64 Bitcoin at about $39,500. Now, if you get something like a little bit of interest, like on some of these different yield platforms, then you need even less than that. But I wanted to show you guys that because I think that is a little bit inspirational. If you have $100,000 worth of Bitcoin today, you should be able to retire, assuming that we get up to gold's market cap. And of course, you could say, hey, I need a lot more money than $1.5 million. I can't withdraw just $60,000 worth. So you can always account for your own situation in this. You can always multiply your numbers out. But I think this hopefully was helpful for some people. So let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribe. And you can share this to someone else. Definitely check out the link underneath the video to BlockFi and also to Unstoppable Domains. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.